Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to episode 14 of C.C.O. Complete Client Overview. Today we are reviewing the Renosense client. This episode is brought to you by all of the people that voted. Be sure to use the link in the description so that you can choose what client I review next. Also, for everyone asking what texture pack I use, there's now a link to download it in the video description. There's also a link to my Discord server where you can chat with other people in the community or get client configs and enter giveaways. I don't usually discuss the history of clients, but in this case Renosense has a pretty dark past and I would like to talk about it. As far as I understand the situation, SJ Nez and one of his friends, Zopak, were working together on Renosense Beta, basically a better and more updated version of Renosense. Anyone who boosted their Discord server would receive access to the beta version of the client. Unfortunately, after some time, Zopak went behind SJ's back and added some malicious code to the client. Apparently, he used a rat that has been used in other clients, known as the Yoink rat. I messaged Zopak on Discord to ask what the malware was capable of, and he told me it could decrypt browser information from Chrome, Safari, Brave, Firefox, and Opera. It could also steal Discord tokens and grab the victim's IP address. It was also capable of stealing Future and Abyss login information, and apparently it could even be used to take a screenshot of the victim's screen or webcam. Apparently, it also created a file in the Windows startup folder. This means the malicious code would be executed every time the user started their computer. I asked Zopak what his motivations were in adding Yoinkrat to Renosense. He told me he wanted members of the Infinity Incursion to run it because he did not like them and he wanted free in-game items. This is yet another instance of laws being broken through malicious code for a block game. I personally find it both sad and horrifying at the same time. With all this being said, I will not be reviewing the beta version of Renosense, but rather the more basic initial release that does not have malicious code written in it. Renosense is a free and open source client that can be found on GitHub. There's not a lot to say on the repository. The README section is very simple, only containing a little bit of information on building the client for yourself. Unfortunately, there is no custom website to accompany the GitHub repository, but there is a link to the official Renosense Discord server. With the history of the Renosense client, I have to say you are trying this client at your own risk. I will place a link to the GitHub repository in the description, but please think about your decision before just downloading and running the client. If you decide to try it, I still highly recommend building the client for yourself. All of the required resources for doing so will be in the video's description down below. Even though SJ Nez has recently started updating the client, today's video is based on the Renosense rewrite, version 0.6.8.0. Renosense is definitely a PvP client. While it does offer its users some utility hacks, there are definitely more PvP based modules. Auto Crystal. This module has a few different pages of settings. When configured correctly, it is not only fast but also quite powerful. Oive Auto Crystal. For some or other reason, the Oive Auto Crystal module has been skidded and placed as an option in the Renosense client. Offhand. The Offhand module has a decent amount of settings, and in my testing I found it to be fairly reliable. KiLAB. This module has a surprising amount of settings, but unfortunately I personally was not able to make a config as powerful as some of the other clients I've reviewed. Auto Trap. The Auto Trap module has a few settings, but it does not offer its users different modes like most other clients do. This means it only works when a player is already in a safe hole. Auto Web. This module places a web at your opponent's feet to slow them down and help you do more damage. The module itself has a few settings and is decently fast with low ping. Pop Counter. This module counts how many times you pop your opponent's totems during a fight. This can be useful to estimate how many totems they have remaining. Surround. The surround module is very fast and reliable. Just make sure to enable TP center, otherwise it does not work unless you are perfectly centered on a block. Before we take a deep dive into the utility hacks offered by the Renosense client, I'd like to take a quick break and remind you all to like or dislike the video. This lets me know if you're enjoying my content. While you are down there, please consider subscribing and helping me reach my goal of 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I really appreciate all of the support. Anyways, let's get back to those utility modules. Shulker View. This module lets you see what is inside of a shulker without actually opening it. This is extremely useful on Anarchy servers, especially ones with illegal items. Name tags. This module gives you more information on your opponents and what they are wearing or holding. There are a decent amount of settings and the module looks good. No render. This module lets you disable certain render events like damage, for example. This is extremely helpful during PvP. Anti-void. This module stops you from walking into the void. This is useful around 2v2t spawn where there are random holes in the bedrock. No glitch blocks. This module stops ghost blocks from appearing while mining blocks on Anarchy servers with a low TPS. Step. This module is supposed to let you walk up 2 blocks, but I personally was not able to get it to work. With that being said, the reverse mode works perfectly. Replenish. The replenish module automatically refills stacks in your hotbar with the same items from your inventory. This is very useful for building or even when in PvP battles. Overall, the modules for the most part have a lot of settings, although I personally feel like the client could benefit from more utility modules being added. To open the GUI, you need to type the following command in chat. .bind click GUI P. This will set the GUI keybind to P. The GUI itself looks fairly good and has a decent amount of settings. There are settings to change the colors of the GUI, but for some or other reason the selected modules always stay blue. Speaking of the color pickers, they are very old school and not very practical in my opinion. Renosense also has some sort of HUD editor, but unfortunately you can't click and drag modules anywhere on the screen. A few of the HUD items can be moved using the X and Y coordinate sliders, but again this feels very primitive compared to modern clients. Overall, the GUI looks okay by default, but could definitely be improved with some more settings and a more modern HUD editor and color pickers. The only place you'll be able to get any support for the Renosense client is in their Discord server. As of now, there is no official support channel or support ticket system, but I'm sure SJ Nez or one of the other members would help you with any problems in the hashtag general channel. The Discord server does however have channels for sharing configs and making client suggestions, which is always nice to see. Renosense lacks a lot of PvP modules, and I can't recommend it for anything other than Crystal PvP. For the best use, I would recommend running this client with another client that offers more utility hacks, like Future or Russia Hack for example. Other than the PvP modules, Renosense doesn't offer its users any special features. The client feels like it could benefit from more modules, and in my opinion, a GUI update could go a long way. I think it's sad that the client's reputation got ruined, as it definitely has potential. I will be keeping my eye on the client and trying future improvements or updates. Thank you so much for watching to the end of my video. I really appreciate your time. Before you leave, remember to vote for next week's episode of C.C.O with the link in the description. Seeing as you're all still here, I assume you enjoyed the video, so please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing. I've also recently made a KiLAB Gaming memberships area on my channel, so be sure to check out the benefits with the join button. Quick shout out to my Patreon for all of the support. Without him, I would not be able to try new paid for clients. Anyways, it has been your boy KiLAB. Peace in the Middle East.